Hey, what's up? My name is Ange. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be going over the books that I read in February. So February was a very interesting reading month for me. I read a decent amount, but I didn't read the books that I wanted to read. I always set a TBR for myself. It's about like 6 or so books. There are books that I like throw in there like as I see them. I sometimes become a mood reader, but I generally stick to my TBR. This month I did not do that. I just filmed my March TBR, and there are a lot of books that were on my February TBR that I started, that I'm in the middle of, that are now on that TBR. If you didn't see that video already, that one is out. I just didn't reach for them. Like, I wanted to read other books. I was having a very off month, so we ended up with this. So I ended up reading 5 books in the month of February, which is a decent amount. I am still behind on my reading goal, of course, but it is what it is. So I read, to start off, the very first one was 1,000 Broken Pieces by Tilly Cole. I started this one in January. I finished it in February, so although I did the majority of my reading in January, I did finish it in February. So, let me pull up my review here. This one is about Savannah Litchfield. If you don't know, 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This is the second one, and this is about her little sister, Savannah. Savannah Litchfield lost her sister 4 years ago. Now she's 17, the age that she was when Poppy died, and the pain of losing her is even worse. When her therapist suggests a trip around the world to help teens stricken by loss, she agrees, even though she doesn't want to. Clutching the unread journal Poppy left her as she goes. Cale Woods is angry. Once the most promising hockey player in the junior league, he can no longer step onto the ice without being paralyzed by the memories of his older brother who died last year. When his parents sign him up for the trip abroad, no part of him wants to go. So then they embark on this journey together, and it's like a whole group of teenagers just trying to like see all the good in the world. They visit a lot of things that have to do with death, but trying to process death in different ways and seeing how different cultures process death. I have a lot of mixed feelings on this one. I rated it 3 stars. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I liked it. I said I wanted to love this as much as I loved the first one, but unfortunately I just didn't. I know you need to have people in your corner to help you get through your grief, but I felt like Cale leaned on Savannah just a little bit too much. It was crazy coming back to this world and this family, but I just wasn't happy with this. Good, but not great. Starting this one off really heavy. I understand needing people and I understand relating to people, but for a little bit there, it felt like Cale wouldn't do anything without Savannah, and I was really afraid that, I know they're just book characters, but I was really afraid that he was gonna like drag her down with him, and her not be able to process her sister's death and get the most out of this trip like she should have because of him. So I was very worried there for a while. I felt like it wasn't great. I'm happy that they were able to have their happy ending. It was definitely interesting when the way that the trip ended, and I was shocked by it, but it was good. Heavy topics on this one, especially if you read 1,000 Boy Kisses. Seeing this family again was very interesting. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I wasn't completely happy with it, but I'm glad I read it. The next book that I read was our book club read for the month, and that is Part of Your World by Abby, is it Jimenez? So it is Part of Your World #1. If you want full thoughts and feelings from me and my friends, that video should be coming out soon. We still have to sit down and film it, so maybe at some point during the month, but not 100% sure on when it will be, but there should be a video out. I'll give you like my short and sweet version of what I thought about it. So this book is about a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich, and cuddle with the baby goat. Alexis Montgomery's had her world turned upside down. The cause is Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come. The complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis. Alexis comes from this super wealthy family. It's like a family of surgeons. They all go to the same hospital and everything like that. And then you have Daniel, who also comes from a line of, they're all like the mayor. I think that they were all the mayor of this small little town. So big city girl Alexis here, and then we have Daniel, who's like from this super small town. They run into each other because her car gets stuck and he tows her out, and then they end up being at the same bar. There's this bet that goes on, and then something actually ends up happening, and then there's a lot with that. I loved it. I rated it 4.5 4.5 stars. I can't remember. I think 4. So I said that I was pleasantly shocked by just how much I adored this book. The first few chapters made me think it was going to be really cringy or along those kinds of lines, but I was proved really wrong. And when we got into all the lessons learned and saw how all the characters grew and adapted, I really, really enjoyed watching that. It was a super cute read. I adored the characters, and I wish that I lived in this small town. Super cute. I love the small town vibes. I love how they all band together. I love how they all have each other's backs. It's super, super interesting. I have now read Part of Your World 1 and 3, but I haven't read 2. So maybe we'll get to that eventually. It was super, super cute. I'm really excited to talk about it with me and my friends, but Abby Jimenez writes like the cutest characters ever. The next book that I read was X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is book 2 in... Is it the Set On You series? No, the Influencer Set On You. Is that the first book? Set On You is the first book. So X's and O's is the Influencer number 2. I didn't know that. I had just picked this one up when I was doing a Valentine's Day read. If you want to go check that video out, that one was posted the week after Valentine's Day. But this was just a Valentine's Day themed. It is a non-spoiler reading vlog if you have not read this book. This one is about Tara Chen, who is a romance book connoisseur. She's had her heart broken 10 times by 10 different men, all of whom dumped her because of her stage 5 clinger tendency. Now she's determined to find the one. The only problem is that classic meet-cutes are dead thanks to modern dating apps. So Tara decides to revisit her exes in hopes of securing her very own trope-worthy second chance romance with everybody that she's been with before. Then we have Trevor Metcalf, something like that, Boston firefighter who will be the first to rush into a burning building, but the last to rush into a relationship. Love just isn't his thing. So him and Tara are just now roomies, and she enlists him to help her reconnect with her exes, and he reluctantly agrees. But Tara's journey is leading him to discover his own chapter. The more time they spend together, the more Tara realizes Trevor seems to be the only one who really appreciates her authentic, dramatic self. So I rated this book 3.5 stars. I said this was so, so, so adorable. The characters were like a lot. Like Tara was a lot, and some of these side characters were a lot. But they were a lot without being too much all at the same time, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It makes sense inside of my brain, but does it make sense when it translates? Probably not. I absolutely love Trevor and the fact that they had a friendship before they got into a relationship. At the very end, we do get a third act breakup, separation kind of thing, and it's all due to a miscommunication trope, which I hate the miscommunication trope with every fiber of my being. I'm not a huge fan of that. Again, it was a really cute read. It was like perfect for Valentine's Day because it ends with being at a Valentine's Day dance. Like that's the whole point, is she's supposed to be Valentine's Day, she's supposed to be finding a date based using her old exes, like going through that list to find a date for this dance. And I really liked them together. I thought that it was interesting. I normally would not have picked this book up if it wasn't for that video, so thank you to myself for coming up with that idea and ending up choosing this book. It was super cute. I would recommend it. It was pretty quick, so it was good. The next book that I read was The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. This book is about she's looking for the perfect man and he's looking for the perfect victim. So Sydney Shaw is like every other single woman in New York. She has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it all, like all those terrible traits that they always have, like not paying the dinner bill, talking about the mother, stuff like that. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, he's handsome, and he's a doctor at a local hospital, and she's swept off her feet. Then there's a brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, and the police can't figure it out. The primary suspect is a mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. I rated this book 4 stars. I thought that this book was absolutely incredible. I loved it. I was shocked. I read this book in one day. So obviously I stopped a whole bunch, but I kept going back to it. I needed to know what happened. Like I said, I rated it 4 stars, and my very first note is "I'm sorry what?" in all caps. I love this one from the very start. Literally finished it in one day. The only thing that I didn't love, again without spoiling it, was how the twist absolutely came out of left field. That's why it basically lost a whole star rating for me. I feel like sometimes with Frida McFadden books, you don't even get the chance to see what the twist is going to be because it's so far out of left field. Like, you never would have known that. But when you read that part and you're like, it all makes sense. It does go back and forth from past in somebody else's point of view to present being in Sydney's point of view. Very, 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 very interesting. One of the best Frida McFadden books that I have ever read. But again, didn't love how that came out of left field, but what am I to expect? Maybe I should have seen it. I remember I was texting Cameron as I was finishing it, like, this is what I'm imagining it's going to be. Don't tell me if it's right, obviously, but like, I wanted to tell somebody if I was right. I was wrong, but it is what it is. So this was very, very good. Unfortunately, I then ended off the month with a very not great read. Then I picked up The Crash by Frida McFadden, which was a newer release by her, and this one is about Tegan, who's 8 months pregnant. She's alone and she desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror, so she hits the road and not realizing that she's heading straight into a blizzard. Hours later, when Tegan is stranded in rural Maine with a dead car and broken ankle, she worries she's made a terrible mistake. Then a miracle occurs. She is rescued by a couple who offers her a room in their warm cabin until the snow clears. But something isn't right, and staying here may have been her most deadly mistake yet. I really wanted to love it. It reminded me a lot. I believe Cameron said this. We read that... What book did we read a while ago? It was by Stephen King. Book by Stephen King of Misery. It's Misery. I remember. I was trying to like picture the title the whole time. Reminded me a lot of Misery with basically, obviously, we know that this couple holds her captive after she gets in a car accident in the snow, which is basically the exact same thing as Misery, except it's one person holding her favorite author, and this is a couple holding her. I didn't love it. I really wanted to. I rated it 2.5 stars. The twists just weren't twisting for me. I wasn't super interested in it. I didn't love it. I read it quickly over the course of maybe like 2-3 days, but as I do with all of her books, I just didn't think that this one was as good as her other books. I definitely felt more interested, obviously, in The Boyfriend, for example, or a lot of her other books. The twists just weren't twisting. I felt like maybe if I didn't read Misery, maybe I would have appreciated it more, but I didn't love it. But it was okay. Just definitely wasn't my favorite. So that's how I ended off the reading month. So, like I said, I have four physical books here, and then I have one on Kindle. I don't have the physical book of Part of Your World. But again, we read 1,000 Broken Pieces, Part of Your World, X's and O's, The Boyfriend, and then The Crash. I didn't get to a lot on my physical TBR that I had set for myself for the month of February, but all of those are going to be read in the month of March, so we will be reading them. February is a very short month, not a very great month, but I did read. So I read 5 books still. I'm still happy for myself for that. So everything is great. March will be a much better month all around of reading, life, everything. So that brings this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.